This new RPG game has been blowing up throughout Roblox, and honestly, it's not because of its graphics, it's not because of its mobs, it's not because of how it looks, but its unique take on the RPG genre on Roblox. You'll see here why it's vaguely nostalgic and fun to play around in. Now this is what the game looks like. As you can see, not the best, the graphics look like they're made by a 5-year-old, and the mobs look like they're made by a 12-year-old scripter and modeler, and it looks like they've just been taken off the catalog. But that's not what it is. That's the whole feeling of it, alright? That's the style they're going with. Maybe they're 12 years old, honestly, I don't know. But, props to the devs for making this game and the unique takes on it, which I'll talk about here in a bit. But they have a lot of things here, like collecting armors, killing bosses, they drop weapons, etc. And you can make sets, which is pretty cool. And right now I have a movement set, which as you can see, I am moving pretty quickly right here. This is just for me to move around. But yeah, this game is really cool. There's a lot of cool new things here that most RPGs don't even look over or even try implementing in games. So let's get started with this guide with what we've seen on the screen right now, which is the GUI. So the GUI, the first thing that we have off is the inventory. Inventory is the place where you see all your equipment, right? Like I said, you could get armors, weapons, etc. And this is where you'll be seeing all of them. You could actually sort this out with the button right below inventory with date, rarity, type, and power. What I like to do is to do rarity just to see the types there are, and it goes up to zirconium right now, I believe, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, this is not very flattering, but there's a lot of cool weapons in this game. But on the bottom left, you could view your equipment right here by scrolling, and you can only have one type of each equipment. For example, you can only have one helmet. If I remove this Valkyrie helmet right here with these Kilos Athidion helmet, I go ahead and remove it and replace it with that. So you can't stack armors, unfortunately and fortunately at the same time, so you can't be too overpowered. But if you go ahead and click view equip one more time, you could see your current level in the game, which I believe is around 3 billion, and this is the total EXP, which I'm not going to count that out since it's too much. But yeah, I've been playing this game for a bit right here, as you can see on the leaderboard. And finally, for the inventory, you could go ahead and click sell on the bottom right near this trash can. Just double click. It even tells you if you don't want to sell it, just in case you did it on accident. But if you do, you sell it and it's forever gone. Now on the left side of inventory, you can see stats. Stats is the area where you'll be seeing all your buffs, your armors and weapons. Includes damage multipliers, melee defense penetrations, critical damage multipliers, etc. And yeah, it just shows your whole setup and how much buffs you're getting. And below that, you can see the time played, total EXP gain, total gold found, total Cubits, which I'll talk about here in a bit, your rebirth, and your bonus EXP gain. And above it, you could always go ahead and click Glossary. Glossary is the amount of Cubits and bosses there currently are in the game that you could check out. As you can see, there are a ton in this game. Now besides the inventory, you can go over to the right side, which is the Robux store. So starting off, there is a free gold chest that you can claim every 24 hours, and it stacks every time you click it or claim it. So right now I'm at 602,000, which isn't that much, but I'll take it. On the left side, you could double your level in gold with 45 Robux one time. On the middle, you can see weapon size. You can increase this with how much you ever want, and yeah, it just increases the weapon size every time you buy a Robux with it, which is 0.5 weapon scale every 50 Robux. Not too bad if you want a bigger hitbox. And now on the right side is more of the permanent game passes, which is VIP. Of course, I don't know what that does, but you could check it out in the descriptions of these games. But we also have ×2 rebirth gains, ×2 weapon scale game pass, and the one and only giant axe of demise, which is 777 Robux, and it's just a giant axe that does a ton of damage. So collect it if you want. And then on the bottom right, you could go ahead and put codes, which I'll leave all the codes in the description if you already haven't collected them. And but besides that, the final GUI that you really want to be looking after for is the rebirth area, which if I already haven't said, rebirth, once you get to a certain level, you will have to rebirth, and this gives you a more level cap and Cubit EXP gain, which I'll talk about after this. But Cubit EXP, for rebirths, they give you opportunities to enter these rebirth portals, which let me quickly go over to them right here. But yeah, there's different rebirth portals. I believe it only goes up to 5 currently. Yeah, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4th one secretly hidden in the 3rd rebirth, and then the 5th rebirth, which they all contain mobs, shops, unique items, etc. And that's it for the GUI section. Now let's move on to the Cubits. So Cubits, if you don't know what Cubits are, they're basically these diamond shaped items that drop from bosses or secretly hidden across the map. So I've collected most of them right now, but let me see if I can look around and chase down one of these guys. They're pretty difficult to find if you've collected most of them at this point. But I believe I haven't killed this boss. So if I kill this guy right here, he will spawn a Cubit right there. Yes, you can see this is what a Cubit cubit looks like. It just spins around, and once you do collect it, it shows you what you killed or where you found these cubit, and it gives you an EXP gain. And by the way, this EXP percent gain increases every time you rebirth. For example, if I'm at rebirth 0, it gives me 10%. But if I rebirth one time, it increases by 10% and goes up to 20% this time. So it just keeps increasing, and since I'm on 8th rebirths, I increased by 80%, meaning I get a 90% EXP gain every time I collect these cubits. And like I said, these cubits can be found secretly across the map, or can be found through boss. Now let's move on to the mobs in this game. So mobs, you know, we got the normal mobs that have like these normal boring names. Shadow Assassin, you kill them, they have a chance to drop their weapons or armors. Pretty cool. And then we have bosses, which should have a first name at the beginning and then a comma right here. As you can see, Inkster, Knight of the Dark Order. This guy's a boss. Once you do kill him, he has a chance to drop his weapon, armor, etc., and a cubit as well. So yeah, there's multiple mobs in the game depending on where they're from. Like the overworld, there's orcs, undead mobs, mages, Vikings, ogres, even Giga Chad ogres. You know, there's a lot of variety in this game, which is really cool, and that's what I like about it. And by the way, some of these bosses do have some secret attacks. Like for example, if I go over to the 3rd rebirth, sorry for the lag, there's a lot of items here, but if I go over to this guy right here, this little teapot man, he has this pretty cool attack where he summons teapot, but at this point I basically one-shot him, so I can't really provoke his attack. But these bosses do have pretty sick moves, and they're all depending on their attacks with their weapon types. For example, this Lancer, if I do attack him and he attacks me back, he does physical melee damage. But if I attack this Sky Guardian right here, he will do magic damage towards, but like I said, too overpowered at this point. Now for the mob drops, all these mobs have chances to drop weapons. Well, not all of them, but specific types have chances to drop weapons, armors, shields, and accessories as well. So weapons could be like this staff, armors could be like his helmet, and accessories could be like their wings. Very, very cool. And speaking of armors, let's go in depth with them with the armors and accessories section, which before we get started, having armor sets may have armor buff. For example, if I have a full set of Star Child chestplate or Child Star armor, it gives me an increase of 50% damage multipliers when worn. So in total, that's 100% damage multiplier. Now with that being said, there are a total of 4 armors in the game and a bunch of accessories. The 4 main armors are hat, we have chestplate and leggings, and then finally shield. For accessories, one of the main ones we've known are necklaces or a charm, whatever you want to call it. We also have bracelets, most notably known as rings. We also have scrolls that give a different attacks and buffs as well. And there's a bunch more in the game, but those are the main ones that I could read out. Now onto the different buffs that these armors do give us. So the different buffs, I'm gonna go rapidly, but we have damage reduction, bonus health, speed increase, flight speed increase, armor resistance, armor bonuses like extra attack, melee speed, etc. Armor shred, which does extra damage towards certain type of enemy armors. We have armor penetration, which basically goes through the enemy's armor. We have magic damage multiplier, which multiplies the magic damage that you do. We also have attack power multiplier, which multiplies the attack type depending on melee or magic. We also have damage multiplier, which increases the total amount of damage output you do by the percent. We also have accuracy, which just makes the shots go in a straight line. We have projectile speed, which makes the ranged attacks go by faster. We have projectile count, which makes the projectile attacks increase by the amount. We also have summons, which might summon minions for you that attack or lead you to certain places. And we have gold multiplier, which, like it says, multiplies your gold. So there's a ton of buffs in the game, and there's a bunch more, so I probably missed out, but those are the main ones that you will be looking out for when making sets. Now moving away from the armors and accessories, we have weapons and skills. So weapons, there's 2 different types. We have magic and physical damage. Those come in various areas of attacks like ranged, magic, or melee. First of all, we got the magic ranged like staffs, wands, and magical attacks, which I'll talk about in here. We also have physical ranged like guns, cannons, crossbows, etc. We also got the physical melee swords, which if I just search up sword, that's most of everything in the game. Like this basic sword right here, this is just a melee weapon. And then we have the physical magic attack weapons like the ignition blade, which does explosions on attack, and if I test that out on a dummy, 24 billion with magic and 36 physical. Now into the special skills. There's multiple skills in the game that I can't really talk about since there's way too much, but some notable ones are dashing, smashing, lava explosions, summoning, multi-shot, and elemental strikes. As you can see, if I press E, R, or F, they will have some certain moves, and like I said, there's way too much for me to even cover. That's what makes the game so unique. Now for the status effects and attack effects, like I said, we've gone over explosion, explodes on impact. We've also have fire damage, which if I use the Fox Fire brand. As you can see, every hit does burn damage on top of it. We also have poison damage, which Venom Shank, which every hit does a little bit of poison as well. And for the rest of this, I won't really showcase it, but you basically already know what they do. Lifesteal, heals on attack, attack speed, weapons, very quick, healing weapons, heals allies or yourself, explosions, and frost burn, which similar to fire, burns enemies on attack. Now for these shops. So shops are one of the main things that are going to help you throughout early game, since they will give you different items that you could buy in a certain amount of time span. I'm pretty sure it's every hour that it replaces with, but it comes along with armors, shields, weapons, etc. So let me quickly show you all the locations. So first of all, beginner shop, you know, at the behind where you spawn, right here, boom. We also have the armor shop right here on top of this little hill. We also have the general store, which is in this little city area. Now, one of the best shops in the game is actually in the overworld, but you're gonna have to have some good flying sets or mobility sets. But if you go right here and fly up to this little cloud section, you will see the sky shop, which I shouldn't be showcasing now, but since it's very useful for late game and it's in the overworld, I might as well get it done. But right here, sky shop, and it sells a lot of expensive things. I'm pretty sure this is the current best shop in the game. Now for the 5th shop, we have the epic store in the first rebirth area. We also have cavern store, which is in rebirth 1 as well, but in the mining of Samog, which is the cavern store. Pretty cool place to obtain things like the charred fang, increases your armor shred every hit. And then into the bigger ones, we have the legendary store, rebirth 2. If you go across this little bridge right here, you'll meet this guy. And then finally, the last area that you'll be finding a shop in is the depths. So if you go towards the depths and go underwater and then move right here to the right side, you will find the depths store. So if I go over here, this is the second best store in the game right now. But if you go behind this boss right here, the Kronos boss, you could actually just go ahead and teleport towards the shop. Pretty cool little tip that you guys could use. Now some random facts, since basically this is the end of the video. Like I said at the start, if I missed anything, definitely leave it in the comments below. But some random facts is that on the 3rd rebirth portal, you could go ahead and fly up or go behind it and you'll find the 4th rebirth area, which is basically a rundown version of the first place. And it's really nice since they have some good weapons like the hollow blade, which summons turrets that fight for you, or the arch nemesis or Urias's helmet, which summons tentacles that trap enemies. So really nice area. And this place also has some cubits. Another tip is that you could fly over to different areas if you have a good sets. For example, as you can see, there's a little shop right here, but if I go ahead and fly on over, it'll load in all the cubits, but it won't load in the map. So this is an easy way to farm cubits. I actually found this out pretty early on once I had this full set. Collect them while the map is not loaded. A really easy way to do it. As you can see, the cubits are loaded in, but the map isn't. This should be rebirth 1. And another random fact is that this ancestral altar right here, if you go on top of it, which is in rebirth 1, like I said, stores all your levels that you want. So if I store this, my level's up to 0, I could work it back up, or if I retrieve it, my level's back up to 3 billion. And in this game, there's secret portals and secret underground areas. So I don't know what to really say besides the secret portals, since there's a ton of them in the game. But what I can say is that there's a lot of underground or underwater secret areas. For example, if I go ahead and equip a underwater helmet, which is the only way to access these areas, by the way, like the bathysphere, I am able to go underwater and float into this area right here. Very nice. And there's a secret boss right here as well. I also forgot to mention that in Rebirth 2, there's a pretty decent area to grind, which is right up here. These EXP goblins, go ahead and kill them for some good levels when you first rebirth or second rebirth. There's also a better mob over here that gives you good EXP, which is the EXP goblin, but you're gonna need some flight to get up here or some parkour skills. And the big ol' stone knight right behind the castle where you see the goblins at. So kill this guy for some EXP as well. For early EXP, you could go ahead and kill this Ogman or the domino guy that lays Baron right below the pit, level 100. And then finally, in the 5th rebirth portal, you could go ahead and go down here, and there will be a second area towards it, which basically counts as a 6th rebirth area since it's pretty hard. But right here, this is the deep sea ocean area, which includes the new Sea King boss, which is really tough, and that's where I got my weapon from, right here. And also this portal right here, which leads to the effigy of Kleos, the strongest boss in the game currently. And just have fun messing around. And like I said, if I missed anything, definitely leave it in the comments below. And yeah, have fun playing the game. And that's basically it for the game. So enjoy playing the game. Use this as a catalyst to basically understand what the game is all about. And just have fun messing around.